August 7th, 1942. Guadalcanal rests in silence beneath a rising tropical sun. Japanese construction units work on an unfinished airfield, confident that the Pacific now belongs to them. They believe the Americans are a tired nation, unwilling to launch major operations so far from home. The illusion ends in a single moment. Naval gunfire erupts from the sea. Explosions tear through the shoreline. U.S. Marines land in force, advancing with determination and discipline that surprises the Japanese defenders who manage to escape into the jungle. Among them is Corporal Hideo Takahashi, a veteran of campaigns in China and Malaya. He writes in his journal that evening, "These Americans do not fight like the enemy we faced before. They are organized, calm, and relentless. We underestimated them." With the capture of the unfinished airstrip, soon renamed Henderson Field, the Americans gain their first foothold in the Pacific. Neither side fully understands it yet, but the battle for Guadalcanal will become a struggle of endurance, supply, and survival. An unplanned confrontation that will reshape the course of the war.
August-September 1942. The Americans push inland and fortify Henderson Field. But Guadalcanal is more than an island. It is a maze of dense vegetation, twisting rivers, towering palms, and oppressive humidity. The jungle consumes everything: sound, visibility, and sense of direction. Small patrols Americans disappear into green corridors, returning with reports of abandoned gear, footprints, and eerie silence. The Japanese have not withdrawn. They have melted into the wilderness, watching, stalking, preparing. Night on Guadalcanal is unlike anywhere else. Darkness falls quickly. The forest turns into a black wall. Then the Japanese attack. Infantry units emerge from the jungle with sudden force, shouting as they charge. For the Americans, the shock is overwhelming. The enemy appears and disappears with frightening speed. Machine guns flash. Flares reveal brief, terrifying moments. And then darkness returns. These first night attacks teach the Americans that the Japanese do not fear close combat, and that the jungle is the true battlefield. Henderson Field is the heart of the American position, and the Japanese intend to cut it out.
September 1942. Japanese leadership realizes Guadalcanal cannot be ignored. If the Americans hold the island, Japanese supply lines and future operations are jeopardized. Reinforcements are ordered, and at night, Japanese destroyers travel down a narrow channel known to the Americans as the Slot. They call these nighttime supply runs the Tokyo Express. The Express brings elite infantry units trained in jungle warfare. Among the commanders arriving is Colonel Kiyonao Ichiki. Confident and aggressive, he dismisses American strength reports as exaggerations. His men, hardened and loyal, follow him without question. Ichiki's goal is simple: smash the American perimeter with a direct assault and reclaim the airfield. He believes one bold attack will break American morale. He is wrong.
Before dawn, Ichiki orders his men to attack across the sandbar at the Tenaru River. The Japanese advance with confidence, expecting the Marines to retreat in panic. Instead, they face a disciplined line of American defenders, supported by machine guns, mortars, and artillery. The Japanese charge into devastating fire. The assault continues in waves, each one cut down with increasing ferocity. Bodies fall thick on the sandbar. The river runs red. By noon, Ichiki's battalion is surrounded. Colonel Ichiki burns his regimental colors and takes his own life rather than surrender. The defeat shocks Japanese command. For the first time, an elite unit has been destroyed outright. The Americans have proven they cannot be intimidated or overwhelmed by spirit alone. But the battle is far from over.
September-October 1942. Henderson Field becomes the center of the entire campaign. Whoever controls the airfield controls the skies. And controlling the skies decides who receives food, ammunition, and reinforcements. Japanese bombers and fighters attack daily. American aircraft scramble from the dirt strip to defend it. Anti-aircraft guns fire until barrels glow red. The airfield changes hands temporarily more than once, but the Americans hold it through desperation and constant repair. Life for the Marines is brutal. Food shortages lead to meals of spoiled rice, moldy bread, and occasional captured supplies. Tropical diseases spread unchecked. Rain turns trenches into mud pits. Snipers lurk beyond the perimeter, firing at anyone who stands too long in the open. Despite the misery, Henderson Field remains operational. The Japanese attempt multiple night assaults, but each one is beaten back. The Americans name certain ridges, trails, and clearings after the blood spilled there: Bloody Ridge, Alligator Creek, Coffin Corner. The jungle becomes a graveyard without borders.
August to November 1942. While the battle rages on land, the sea becomes a graveyard of steel. Japanese and American fleets clash repeatedly in night battles illuminated only by gunfire and burning ships. These engagements are chaotic, close range, and deadly. Several destroyers and cruisers are lost on both sides. The waters around Guadalcanal become known as Ironbottom Sound. Each victory or defeat at sea determines which side receives supplies. When American convoys slip through, the Marines cheer. When Japanese reinforcements arrive under cover of night, new waves of attacks follow. Control of the ocean shifts constantly. No side holds dominance for long. The fate of the island hangs on who can endure the longest.
November 1942. By November, both sides are exhausted. Japanese troops suffer from starvation, malaria, and lack of ammunition. Many units are reduced to a fraction of their original strength. Supplies dropped by air fall into the jungle or drift out to sea.
The Americans, reinforced and better supplied, begin pushing outward from Henderson Field. They capture strongholds, clear villages, and cut off Japanese positions. The Japanese army, still disciplined and determined, fights fiercely but cannot match American firepower. The final major attempt to retake the airfield collapses under concentrated American artillery and air support. Japanese commanders realize the battle is unwinnable. But Tokyo refuses to surrender the island. Orders instruct the troops to continue resisting at all costs. As the situation grows desperate, Japanese officers quietly begin discussing evacuation.
December 1942 to February 1943. In December, Imperial Headquarters authorizes the evacuation of Guadalcanal. The mission is carried out in secrecy, using fast destroyers to evacuate survivors under cover of darkness. By February 1943, more than 10,000 Japanese soldiers have been withdrawn. The remaining forces, too weak to continue fighting, slip away into the jungle or surrender. The Americans secure the island. The battle for Guadalcanal ends. The cost is staggering. Thousands of soldiers from both nations lie in unmarked graves. Countless ships rest at the bottom of Ironbottom Sound. The jungles still hide relics of conflict, helmets, rifles, and rusted fragments of war. But the outcome is clear. Guadalcanal marks the first major defeat of the Japanese Empire. It shifts the momentum of the Pacific War permanently. The myth of Japanese invincibility is shattered. American forces, once uncertain and inexperienced, emerge confident and battle-hardened. For veterans like Corporal Hideo Takahashi, the island remains a wound that never fully heals. His early observation becomes a quiet prophecy. These Americans will not stop. They will fight until the war reaches our shores. Guadalcanal was more than a battle. It was a turning point, a struggle for survival, a test of endurance in one of the harshest environments on Earth, an island of shadows where the course of history changed forever.